Xenoblade 3 and Future Redeemed have some of the most beautiful, emotional, and sometimes underrated day themes in the entire series. Today I'll be ranking every single one, from the forgettable to the incredible. And of course this is just my opinion, so I'd love to hear your rankings in the comments. Let's dive straight into D tier. 30. Orion Tunnels. Orion Tunnels is a little bland and boring. It fits a dingy cave setting, but I wouldn't choose to listen to the song when there are plenty of more interesting ones. 29. Malevolent Hollow. Malevolent Hollow is similar to Orion Tunnels, but the choir gives a more interesting instrumentation. Nice rising and falling piano section in the second half though. 28. Keves Castle. Keves Castle is musically sparse, but is very ominous. There are interesting harmonies on the vocal chants too. Its dynamic nature leading into the Keves Castle battle theme gives it a boost up. Alright, moving out of the bottom. These next tracks aren't bad at all, just a bit underwhelming compared to the rest. Let's get into C tier. 27. Ray Bell Tableland. The Ray Bell Tableland effectively builds a nature-themed soundscape, but there isn't much else to latch onto as a listener until the second half, wonderful as it is. Beautiful main melody, but could have been developed a little more throughout the piece. 26. Keves Colony. Keves Colony is a slower, drier version of Soldier's Paean. Since we hear Soldier's Paean first in the game, this more homely version felt a little like a downgrade to me, as I personally prefer the orchestral arrangement. That being said, it fits the technological theme of Keves well with the electronic drums. 25. Sophronia Village. Sophronia Village is a version of Agnes Colony with sparser accompaniment and more emphasis on the leading flute. It represents the sealed-off nature of the lost colony well, but is musically less interesting than its counterpart. 24. Capricorn Peak. Unfortunately, Capricorn Peak is one of the only songs in the game I think fails to represent its area well. I would never listen to this track and think snow level. The main melody also feels a bit samey compared to the rest of the game, especially by the time you hear this song. However, it is carried by interesting harmonies, effective accompaniment, and a nice drop at the halfway point. 23. Elais Highway. A reimagining of Lost Machina Village from Xenoblade 1, Elais Highway moves a little slowly for my tastes, with long, drawn-out melodic phrases, but I love the classical guitar arpeggios. It fits the drier setting well. Okay, now we're getting into the good stuff. From here on out, these are tracks I regularly go back and listen to outside of the game. Let's check out B tier. 22. Izana Plains. Izana Plains is the game's first area theme. It presents the game's intro really well with the ticking clock, ominous vocals, and deep bass effects. Call and response between vocals and strings enforce the military setting. It's not as re-listenable as other tracks, but it's a stunning one to open the game with. 21. Mac the Wildwood. Mac the Wildwood is another soundscapey area theme. This one leans into the idea of an abandoned forest, with its use of insect noises and overlapping ostinatos of different instruments. There isn't really an obvious hook to the song for a while, which can make it drag for a bit on a re-listen, but it's all worth it for that hauntingly beautiful string section at 2:35. 20. Dana Desert. It is immediately clear that Dana Desert is an oppressive track, with that extended low note on the opening. The repeated synth broken chord can get boring after a while, but its repetition lends itself well to the desert setting. The bell section is a fascinating thing to have added to a desert track, making it feel a little otherworldly. The ending section has a strength to it, continuing the idea of an oppressive desert, but a repetitive first 3 minutes can make this song drag a little. 19. Cloudkeep. Cloudkeep has this sense of majesty and awe right from the start, because of the choir of sopranos and altos. It makes sense for the Queen of Agnes' hiding spot. Halfway through, there is also a sense of melancholy when the descending chords section begins, and I can't finish this section without mentioning that tiny snippet of Drifting Soul from Xenoblade 2. Not as immediately interesting as other tracks, but a lovely slow burn that keeps things interesting throughout. 18. Agnes Colony. Agnes Colony is a warm, homely piece with heavy inspiration from East Asian culture. I really like the soaring flute phrases, and the accompaniment is more dense and developed than in Sophronia Village. It mixes very bright notes with a sense of melancholy very effectively. I know I'd love to live or visit a place that this song describes. 17. Lee Gart Prison Camp. Lee Gart's prison camp is dark and brooding with a sliver of hope in certain sections. I love the low-pitched strings and the sections that oscillate between two chords. This helps drive home the monotony of prison life. I think that this track understands its point in the story really well and delivers exactly what works. The final descending section is astonishingly beautiful. 16. Soldier's Paean. Had anyone actually heard the word Paean before this? Soldier's Paean is a wonderful and upbeat town theme, rare in this game's soundtrack. It had me humming along on release day as a matter of fact. Its militaristic rhythms reflect the setting well. I love the orchestral arrangement compared to Keves Colony, and just how bright and bouncy it is. Don't forget that Colony 9 is home at this point in the game, and this song sells it 100%. That key change always makes me ascend. 15. Agnes Castle. Agnes Castle first plays after the emotional devastation that was chapter 5 to 6, and it relieves the tension very well, almost like a victory theme. We return to the Japan-inspired stylings of the Agnian music, but with the soprano-alto choir. This song is bright and warm, not to mention very singable. 14. Alfetto Valley. I love the Alfetto Valley area. I think the visuals are striking. I'm a sucker for autumnal areas, and I think the music sells the themes of the place really well. The soaring flute is beautiful, reminiscent of the wolves in this area. The big drum hit every 2 bars sells the sense of danger, and the build-up and drop are incredible. I think the main melody is strong and its low pitch adds power and punch. However, the track's overall simplicity makes it hard to rank anywhere higher than Beat It. Okay, now the soundtrack is really starting to shine. These are the themes that make Xenoblade 3's world unforgettable. Welcome to A Tier. 13. Ruby Flats. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Ruby Flats tells the tale of a beautiful and boundless grassland. I can't describe how much I adore the main melody of this song. It feels like an emotional gut punch, especially when combined with the smooth and swooping accompaniment. The brass and strings begin to harmonise, kicking the song up a notch, but it is when they synchronise that the power of that seemingly gentle melody is revealed. A brilliant start to A Tier. 12. Greatsword's Bass. Greatsword's Bass is a serene track that hints at a sense of destruction. It tells the story of the remnants of a once awe-inspiring, beautiful land. The game had me pointing at the screen when I realised it was an arrangement of Sword Valley from Xenoblade 1. The twinkling chimes are a beautiful percussive addition, and the fluid motion of the strings makes this such a moving piece. The section with the marching snare is a reminder that we finally made it to our goal, Sword March. 11. Syra Hovering Reefs. Syra Hovering Reefs is a track that, to me, is trying to get across a sense of scale. The big, deep drum hits signify size, and the strings have a grand but reflective feeling. This area is indeed large and wide, but fractured. The melody also uses a broad range of notes, with high rises and lower dips, which could help emphasise this. Personally, I love how majestic this area theme sounds, and its introspective feeling makes it a great contribution to the soundtrack. 10. City. When I first heard City, there was something nagging at me and I couldn't quite work it out. It just felt so familiar. And then I realised, it uses the motif from Ouroboros Awakening. You know, the song you hear like once 40 hours before this? I love the mechanical feeling of this track, especially the small whirs and whacks throughout. It has a nice driving rhythm from the strummed guitar and drum kit, and the choir elevates this song to another level, helping it feel a little more homely. The military feel of this track also suits the city very well. 9. Yesterday, Colony 9. Yesterday, Colony 9 is our first Future Redeemed track. That's how good the DLC songs are. It's cozy, homely, and an arrangement of Hometown from Xenoblade 1 to boot. The best part is, this song is fully aware of its nostalgia factor, and it leans very heavily into making it feel as warm and fuzzy as possible. The gentle percussion and accompaniment help you feel right at home, while the beautifully arranged main melody steals the show. It's enough to make a grown man cry. 8. Forto Verbus. Raise your hand if you forgot this song existed. Forto Verbus is the song from that one Xenoblade 3 trailer that gave me whiplash when I heard it in-game after like 100 hours. That being said, it's wistful, bright, and has some hope to it. My favourite part of this song is definitely the jaw-dropping harmony. The call and response between the main melody and accompaniment is also catchy, and I like the touch that the rhythm used is similar to the off-seeing motif. This type of ornamentation is called a turn, by the way. Overall, a wonderful city theme that I wish we got to hear a little bit more. 7. Aegis Wilderness. The song I thought was so underrated I started this YouTube channel. We have Aegis Wilderness. God, what a beautiful soundscape. From the bug noises, to bony fossilised percussion, to static on snare hits, everything is so carefully considered to feel as desert-like as possible. Not to mention the gorgeous melody and accompaniment, and a climax section so unpredictable it feels like improv. I love this song to bits, and catch myself humming it all the time. What a wonderful way to cap off A Tier. Now, the cream of the crop. These are the tracks that absolutely define Xenoblade for me, the ones that give me goosebumps every time. Let's finish things off with S Tier. 6. Erythia C. Kicking off S Tier, we have Erythia C. For some reason, the plucked instrument in this song, I think a harp, feels so aquatic to me. I think maybe due to its natural reverberation. I love the way the piano rises and falls in its arpeggios, just like waves, and the main melody of the chorus is just so grand and beautiful in the way it soars above the accompaniment. This song is a very unique ocean theme, in the sense that it doesn't fall for the normal JRPG trappings, think Pirates of the Caribbean-like songs. I love that it tries something new, and actually succeeds to the highest degree. 5. Milik Meadows. This is the Xenoblade we know and love. Milik Meadows is bold, grand and extravagant with its upbeat percussive rhythms. It has a main melody introduced at the start that consistently gets developed throughout the song, something not very common in 3's OST. It isn't afraid to have a section or two that's a little more reflective, as we are soon launched straight back into the upbeat action. New sounds and timbres are constantly introduced and removed, and I haven't even mentioned the entire final third of the song yet. It is the very definition of catharsis, as if saying, this is where the journey truly begins. An absolute highlight of the soundtrack. 4. Great Cot Falls. Great Cot Falls is a song that focuses on wonder. Its melody has a sense of magic and serenity to it, only aided by the brilliant instrumentation with its harp and triangle. There's a quiet grandiosity in the first half of the track, only to be released fully after that life-altering drop. The strings play that beautiful soaring main melody, backed by the choir, brass and harp. There's the same aquatic feeling present as with Erythea Sea, which fits the bill perfectly. The beauty of the visuals is only matched by the beauty of this track, an absolute powerhouse of an area theme. 3. Centomnia Region. After a lack of the extravagant and bold Xenoblade area themes we're used to in base game 3, Centomnia Region knocked it out of the park in Future Redeemed. This song is the epitome of adventure. The drums let us know straight away that this track means business, playing under the heroic strings. Little touches like the percussive sounding acoustic guitar strums, subtle electric guitar plucks mimicking the main melody, and a main melody with a brilliant hook. This song has it all. 203 to 218 is an incredibly catchy bridge section, which I wish there was more of because it's that good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what Xenoblade sounds like. 2. Origin. Maybe this is cheating because it's way longer than the others, but Origin takes the number 2 spot. Listening to every section put together is an otherworldly experience. It is a masterclass in build-up, slowly giving more and more crumbs until its climax section. Origin truly is a culmination of the musical ideas of the entire game. The choir, representing Mobius, the technological sound effects and synths, representing the computerized nature of Origin. The Mobius motif, heard throughout the game, even from the first cutscene, is present. The section called Origin Event is by far my favourite. The drums going ham but still playing incredibly tightly and precisely, with a beautifully toned electric guitar taking the lead and erratic piano coming in too. Origin creates a wonderfully ominous and high-stakes atmosphere by using all the musical language you've learned over the course of your playthrough one last time. Number 1. Black Mountains. In first place we have the Black Mountains from Future Redeemed. There are 2 versions, Valak Mountain and Prison Island, but I thought I'd combine them to take one spot as they are essentially the same. Black Mountains creates an ominous mood from the opening arpeggios, and when that heavily distorted electric guitar comes in, you better get ready. Black Mountains is an unrelenting track from the moment you hear go, with a well-defined main melody, militarized rhythms on the drums, bass guitar that goes wild. This song just screams climax. The final stretch where the electric guitar leads the accompaniment upwards to that final cathartic section is just unbelievable. Playing through this section felt like a badass, just because of how heavy hitting this track is. Not only is it exactly my personal taste, but it excels at every facet of its composition, an absolutely smashing end to the trilogy. And that's my full ranking of every Xenoblade 3 and Future Redeemed day theme. But now, I want to hear from you. Which track is your number 1? Drop your ranking in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want more JRPG music rankings and analysis videos, hit subscribe. It really helps me keep making these. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.